take that on to
If the bumpkins were left to their own devices, all these byways would be overgrown, mate. Oh, yeah, just down here. It'd be lovely.
Oh, you think go to the water in reach? You don't have to carry them. No. Put it there, eh?
Hold up.
That's it.
It's been there a while, hasn't it? Look at that.
About 10 minutes ago, but we need you here as soon as possible. Yeah, ASAP.
We've done a PNC check. The vehicle's registered to a Charlie Finlayson of London. He used to live in Midsumer Sunning up until 3 years ago. George thought you might know him.
Morning, George. I know of him.
His wife reported him missing 2 weeks ago.
No obvious cause. Time of death was something like 2 weeks ago, judging by the insect development.
Broken from the outside. No wallet or ID.
The way the glass has interacted with the body, it looks like the window was broken at the time of death, or pretty soon after.
Well, he certainly wanted to turn round in a hurry, didn't he? What was he doing here with his Chelsea tractor and his designer suit? Not your typical bird watcher, is he? Miles from anywhere. With a map and a pair of binoculars.
You know who lives barely half a mile away? Guy Sands.
Guy Sands, owner of Midsumer Life.
It also happens it was Guy Sands' wife who Charlie Finlayson ran off with 3 years ago.
You're a very talented girl, Gemma.
I thought it was perhaps a little gruesome for the gentlefolk of Midsumer.
We have to tell it how it is, Julia. That's what we're here for. We'll go with it as it is.
Thank you, Mr. Sands.
Oh, God, come in. Excellent article this month.
Thank you, Mr. Sands.
So, how's the hedge laying going?
Not much work about as it happens.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
In fact, I started a new job today. When you hear who I'm working for, I'm not sure you're going to want me writing the country diaries anymore.
Guy Sands thinks he's going to publish this rubbish, and then he's got another thing coming. Who the hell does he think he is?
Looks like it's going to be one of his nasty ones. It's ever since you opened that off-road centre, you know. That's what this is all about.
I know what this is about, and I'm not going to put up with it. The opinions of that dyspeptic dinosaur bastard.
Mr. Tomlin, any plans for the day? No. Right.
Sitting there for 2 weeks or something. I mean, don't these people ever clear up? This is a public byway we're talking about. Yes, please. I mean, we could have had kiddies with us.
Mr. Farley, did you have a pleasant drive?
You extracting a Michael?
I beg your pardon?
Have you not heard about the body we found up on the hill?
The dead body? Blimey. I thought gossip was supposed to spread like wildfire in these parts. I think it's Remy's all round. Yeah. Large ones.
Of course.
So, we're doing a bit of green laning up the back there, and we had to hack our way through. And then, there it was.
Maggots crawling all over it.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
Where was this?
Up the back there, I think it's called Dre's Copse.
Dre's Copse?
What's that? The haunted wood, is it? What you like, you people? Priceless.
They're saying it's a combination of that hot weekend and it being the end of the season. Can't get charcoal anywhere. No, it'll be fine. They say it's going to be an Indian summer. Oh, there's your dad now. Cully sends her love.
Oh, Mrs. Dixon. Hello, Cully, love.
Did you get that? Okay. Yeah. See you then. Bye, love. Simon can't come after all.
Oh, they're not avoiding the in-laws already, are they?
No, of course not. They're silly. Now, have you decided what you'd like for your birthday?
Joyce, I've just walked through the door. Could I have a moment, please, before we start all the questioning?
You are, without doubt, the most difficult person in the world to buy a present for.
Well, I never realized there was so much money in local magazine publishing. But there isn't. Guy Sands made his money in the city, retired early and bought the magazine as a hobby. And the crime scene's over there. And this is the only house within a mile of where the body was found.
Faces were pale. I mean, they went silent. It was like American Werewolf in London, you know, like don't stray off the path sort of thing. You know, walls, raised cops. Bleeding hilarious. Oh, I like those spots.
That's tungsten, that is.
Very nice. What is that? Oi, mate. They've called and left a message.
Who?
The Transport Museum. Want to know if you're ready to donate it yet?
Putting you through.
Mrs. Finlayson,
Yes?
would you come through, please?
Is it my husband?
We've checked the dental records, and I have to tell you that the deceased is indeed your husband. I'm sorry. Cause of death hasn't been established yet, but I'm bound to tell you there are certain circumstances which are suspicious. Thank you. We need to know what he was doing where he was found. And that was on the bridle path that runs through Dre's Copse.
I have no idea what he was doing there.
You do know where Dre's Copse is, don't you?
Of course I do. It's 500 yards from my ex-husband's house. I would quite like to know what Charlie was doing there myself.
I'm off to the Green Dragon.
Matt Moorcroft's been on the phone again. More veiled threats about cancelling his advertising if you go ahead with publishing next month's review.
Well, leave it to me. Have you got his contract? Thank you. See you later.
Bon appetit.
My brother Martin works at the Moorcroft Hotel, and he phoned and told me that they'd found a body.
Can you tell us about the last time that you saw your husband?
It was the morning he disappeared. We were sitting at home in Kensington. He was eating some cereal. I left early in order to beat the traffic. I assumed he'd just gone to the office.
And you've no idea what he was doing in Midsomer?
No. Not one single clue. Will there be an inquest, do you think?
Oh, yes, there'll be an inquest. I'll have to talk to you again.
Ben, can I have a word?
Yeah.
It was while we were looking over the SUV, found something we thought might be of interest.
And if you could keep us informed, please, about your movements.
This is my brother's address. I'll be staying there tonight.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Sir. Found on the side of the seat in Charlie Finlayson's SUV is a credit card statement in the name of Christina Finlayson, with one entry circled, a service station in Midsomer Sunning. Who's checking up on her?
Where's my glass?
Oh, it's there somewhere.
Oh, if you just leave it where I put it.
I didn't touch it.
You don't want to. The last person that touched Eleanor's wine glass is still eating through a straw.
Thank you. Christina.
It was Charlie.
I am so sorry.
Charlie? Well, the body in the car was your husband, Charlie.
Do you think you could give us a moment?
Yes, of course.
I should have known. I mean, he hadn't used his credit cards. The bank account was untouched. It was obvious.
Do they know how?
No, not yet.
Well, I shall miss him. I mean, he was such a lovely, kind and warm and, well, I don't know, I mean, such a genuine human being. He just always had time for everyone. I mean, absolutely.
Sorry, can I ask you something?
Oh, please, anything.
What on earth possessed you to get a job as a barman?
Well, I've tried quite a few jobs since, but once you're the wrong side of 40, it's actually not.
Yes, all right. Look, do you have a spare front door key?
Use mine. You know, you're welcome to stay as long as you like.
Thank you.
Mr. Tomlin?
Have there been any telephone messages for me?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You're absolutely sure?
All messages are put in the pigeonholes at reception if you'd like to check.
What a peculiar man.
In fact, if he had anything to do with what happened to your brother-in-law, I wouldn't be at all surprised. What's that? Of course. Your old restaurant got one of Guy's refused, didn't it? Is this the one? Oh, well, how extraordinary. It's fallen open just at the right page. Crimes against gastronomy.
Could you look out of the till for a moment, please?
Yes, of course. Oh, dear. A confection of overworked pretentiousness. An amateur cook with all the culinary
instinct of a lollipop. Vile sludge.
Sludge?
So it's really just a matter of towing them out if they get stuck. And for God's sake, don't give them any advice. These city boys don't like being told what to do. It's all about making them feel good. And don't come over all countryside on lines. They come here to relax and we look after them.
Did you divert the stream through the old tip that was there?
Yeah. We put hardcore in the bottom, it works fine.
Mrs. Finlayson! Hello? Mrs. Finlayson?
Good afternoon. You didn't answer.
I was hoping you'd go away, if I'm perfectly honest.
We've got some new evidence, Mrs. Finlayson, which I hoped you could throw some light on for us, if you'd be so kind. This is a credit card statement in your name, which we found down the side of one of the seats in your husband's Lexus 4x4. You see that circled entry? That was for a purchase at the petrol station in Midsumer Sonning. Do you know why that particular entry was circled?
Well, it wasn't circled by me, I know that.
Was it not? Do you know any reason why your husband would be curious about what you were doing out here in Midsumer Sonning? Mrs. Finlayson, you tell me, please, where you were on the day your husband disappeared.
I was here seeing my brother. Didn't I mention that? You see, I had driven down from London to help Martin with his finances. Ever since his restaurant went into receivership, he's been finding it very difficult to cope.
Oh, so you've come back here before?
A couple of times. Once on the day of the petrol station entry. I didn't tell Charlie because my brother asked me not to. He's been embarrassed by his situation. Has the cause of death been established yet?
No, it hasn't.
You know, Charlie had high blood pressure. But I can think of absolutely no reason why he should suspect that I was seeing Guy. And the whole idea is ridiculous. Now, if you don't mind, I've got things I need to get on with.
I'm afraid he's out at the moment. Is it about the body they found up at Dre's copse?
It is. Do you know where I can find?
Is it true it was Charlie Finlayson?
I had hoped I'd be the one asking the questions.
Sorry. Habit of a lifetime.
Where can I find Mr. Sands?
He's at the Green Dragon in Malham. It's gastropub review day.
There you go.
I will not be needing the parachute. I will, however, be needing the seasonal vegetables, which I think are included in the menu, if you don't mind.
Moorcroft Hotel.
Could I speak with Mr. Tomlin, please?
I'm afraid he's not here at the moment. Can I take a message?
Could you tell him Mrs. Wilson returned his call?
And your number is?
He has my number. Just ask him to call.
I don't even know what all the hostility's about. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the countryside is supposed to be a leisure resource for everybody, right? Hi. Excuse me. There's a farmer who has deliberately put a load of balls in a field we wanted to go through. Now, a bridle path is a public right of way. Why would he do that?
And where was this?
It was in a field at the Malham Crossroads.
I think you'll find there were cows.
Cows? When was the last time you saw cows with horns?
Mr. Guy Sands?
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt your meal. I'm Detective Chief Inspector Barnaby, Corston CID, and this is Detective Sergeant Jones. Need to ask you a few questions, sir. Maybe?
Please.
Thank you. You haven't heard, have you, of the body that's been found in Dre's copse?
What body?
It was found in an SUV. It's just been positively identified as being that of Charlie Finlayson.
Finlayson? Well, I can tell you it had absolutely nothing to do with me. Can't think what he was doing down here. I haven't seen the man for years. Thank you. Why do they always bring the vegetables and the pie on two separate plates? Does anyone know? Either I have to eat them separately, or transport the vegetables to the pie, having first made a hole in the pastry to put them in, or vice versa, and triple gravy all over the table. Why can't they just put them on the same plate? Actually, it's not bad.
Charlie Finlayson, sir. He disappeared a couple of weeks ago, Tuesday the 3rd. Now, on that date, or any time since that date, have you heard anything unusual near to your house or along the bridle path?
I don't think I was at home that day. No, I wasn't. all that night. I had meetings in town and stayed over. Sorry. Is Matt here?
Afraid not, Mr. Sands. I help well. It isn't the old school Ty himself.
Do I know you?
Probably not. The Grandee fund managers never had much time for us common folk.
I remember you. The paintball champion.
And what's wrong with paintballing?
Nothing.
You want to watch what you say, mate? You haven't got your school chums to back you up here.
All right, that's enough, thank you.
You mistake yourself for someone of any consequence whatsoever.
Come on, Brad, leave them alone. They're not worth it.
You're lucky there's ladies present, mate. Hey. Yeah.
No surprises about the clientele, then? Perhaps you could take a message to your new employer. Tell him the advertising contract is void, and I will be publishing next month's review. Henceforward, the magazine refuses to carry any further advertisements for his hotel. At any price. Ever.
I'll pass that on, Mr. Sands.
Thank you, Bill. What the hell was your husband doing at Dre's Copse?
Oh, sensitive and charming as ever. Thank you for the sympathy.
What was he doing here?
Well, you tell me.
What on earth would I want with a prat like that? I've told you, he's a waste of space.
Oh, you bastard! Bastard.
Hey, how's the new job?
Interesting.
Good evening.
Give us a minute.
He's gonna what? Right. Right. We'll see.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Have the new towels been laundered?
That's not actually my job.
Don't you like working here?
Salvador Dali moustache look again. In purple. It's the mellow smile. Eleanor. Safe journey home.
Potholes. Get them fixed. Yes?
Is Mr. Tomlin there, please?
Oh, just a moment. I'm sorry, I'm afraid he doesn't appear to be answering.
Oh, could you ask him to phone Mrs. Wilson? He has my number.
Well, I have actually already given him that message.
Could you make sure he gets it?
On his own spike. Someone making a point, perhaps, so to speak. Anyway, there's no sign of a struggle or forced entry.
I've estimated time of death between 6 and 8 p.m. yesterday evening.
You got a cause of death yet for Charlie Finlayson?
It's difficult with the condition of the body.
I wanted to check his diary. I went in there to find it, and he was just lying on the floor. I didn't touch anything. I just came straight back in here and called the police.
Who are the other regular staff here?
It's just me and Guy. And Gemma helps out in the office 3 days a week. All the other contributors are freelance.
I'm actually an artist.
Yes, I know. You do the illustrations for the Nature Diary, don't you? They're excellent.
Oh, thank you. My brother Garth writes the column.
Well, I'm very sorry about what's happened here. Do you have any idea at all who could have done this?
Guy wasn't everyone's favourite, but I can't imagine anybody actually wanting to murder him.
We need to know where you both were yesterday evening between 6 and 8.
I was driving back from Corsten. I had a meeting there with printers. And I got back about 6:30. I didn't bother coming into the office because Guy had said he'd lock up. He was working late. I spent the rest of the evening at home.
Can anyone corroborate that?
I'm afraid not.
I was at the Moorcroft bar from 6 to 7. I was meeting Garth. We often go there for a drink before we go home. We share a cottage. Anyway, we must have left about 7, 15. There was that package. The hand-delivered one. It was a brown envelope, big capital letters addressed to Guy. I don't know if that had anything to do with what happened, but I put it on his desk.
Who was it from?
No idea. He hadn't opened it by lunchtime. He probably took it with him. He often did. There's something else I feel I should mention. My brother spoke with Matt Moorcroft that evening. Guy had asked him to pass on a message about how the Moorcroft wasn't allowed to advertise in Midsumer Life anymore. And I have to say that Matt didn't look very pleased about it when he left the hotel, which was pretty much straight away.
Are you ready? Come on, come on.
Babe, there's something wrapped around the front.
Tyre? You're gonna pay for this? Or someone is?
Excuse me a second. Hi.
Where are you going now?
It's Guy. He's dead.
When did it happen?
They're saying between 6 and 8 yesterday evening. They want to look over Guy's house. Julia's taken them up there. Sorry, Garth.
Okay. Bye.
We need the wire cutters when you finish communing with nature.
Miss Benson? Miss Benson, was Guy Sands involved in any romantic relationships at all?
Yes, he was. With me.
With you?
It started after I began working for him, when I moved here. It was a magical time.
Was it serious?
I couldn't answer for Guy. I suppose not very, probably. Guy wasn't a big romantic. We didn't live together. I just came over here a few nights a week. We didn't make a big thing of it. Publicise it.
So, there's a telephone number from Mr. Tomlin here.
What's his name? Anything here?
It's a local number.
Try it, will you? That can't have been very easy for you.
He was still hurting from the divorce. She left him. People take time to trust again, don't they?
It's the Moorcroft Hotel.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch. Guy's lover, no alibi. Has to be on our list.
Julia? Are you all right? Oh, you poor thing. You were so close.
Stop it! I'll be fine. You can go. I can manage, please.
If that's what you want.
Sorry, it's just I've got to sort out the magazine and make the phone calls, and on top of Guy's death.
Oh, you poor love.
I'd like to talk to you, sir, if we may, about your relationship with Guy Sands.
Excuse me.
It was fairly straightforward. I disliked him intensely. He was arrogant and vindictive.
I just wanted to say...
That's enough.
I just wanted to say, Inspector, that I knocked on the doors of Midsumer Life offices last night. It was about, 10:30, I think. And the lights were on, but there was no reply.
And your point is?
Well, obviously he was lying there dead, wasn't he, of course?
Well, I'm sure that if the officers want to talk to you about your invaluable evidence, they'll do so when they're ready.
We'll talk later.
Yes, thanks.
I'm sorry about that. My mother made it a condition of me taking over the hotel that I keep Eleanor on. It's misplaced loyalty. The woman's a hopeless alcoholic.
We understand you left the hotel at 6 p.m. yesterday after a conversation with Garth Platt. Where did you go?
Well, I went to see Guy Sands at his office about the advertising for the magazine. But he told me I had to make an appointment. He had someone with him.
Who did he have with him?
Well, I didn't see them. whoever it was in the office. Look, I just went there to sort out this review thing.
Which you were angry about?
Well, actually, he was more angry than I was when I got there, if you really want to know.
Oh, really? What about?
I don't know. He had a brown envelope in his hand and he was cursing.
Mr. Moorcroft, does the name Tomlin mean anything to you?
There's a gentleman staying in the hotel by that name, if that's what you mean.
His key's not here.
Oh, would you ring through to his room, please?
He's a suspect, is he?
Pretty much everyone is a suspect at the moment.
You know, he spends a lot of time sitting in his car outside. Very odd. He could be watching Midsumer Life offices from there, you know.
When was this?
And then there's that mysterious woman who kept phoning him, Mrs. Wilson. Oh! Mr. Tomlin hasn't picked up his message now. There's a thing. No, I don't think I should.
Just give it to him.
Mrs. Wilson returned your call. Is that it?
Yes, she didn't leave a number. She said he knew it. Of course, I dialed 1471. It was number withheld.
I need to see his room, please.
But he's booked in to stay another couple of nights. Paid in advance.
Is his car gone?
It was not outside where it usually is, I noticed. And no, it's not in the car park either. Red hatchback.
Christina! There you are. I'll be back after lunch.
My husband would still be alive if it wasn't for you. If you hadn't insisted on all this secrecy. Charlie thought I was seeing someone when I was coming here, and he died believing I was being unfaithful to him, and it's all your fault.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't...
God, not content with ruining your own sad little life, you have to go and ruin everyone else's as well. And for what? All because you didn't want anyone to know how much money you'd lost. In the biggest, harebrained, my perfect little dream restaurant scheme of all time. Chez Martin. Over the pork and pineapple profiterole.
Actually, a lot of people were quite complimentary about my pork and pineapple profiteroles.
Oh, shut up!
Just help yourself to anything you need.
Well, the signing in book is usually... Well, it's usually right here.
Could you put that on my desk, please? Thank you. Seems our Mr. Tomlin has just been released from prison. 14 years for murder.
Murder?
Do you think you could keep it to yourself for the time being? Could you do that? If you wouldn't mind.
Yes, I did tell you he was suspicious, though, didn't I? My God, I did say that. I knew it. I knew he was weird.
Sorry about that, sir.
Yes.
You think someone could have been paying him to do their dirty work?
I have no idea. I'd like to know more about this Mrs. Wilson.
There must be thousands of them out there.
But yes, I know. Get his address from the signing-in book, and better get hold of the chief investigating officer on the Tomlin case. See what he can tell us about him.
Murder?
A well-oiled receptionist. The rooms themselves overwhelmed with the odor of cheap toiletries and other less savory things. For some hours after leaving the establishment, I felt a little soiled.
He wasn't too bothered keeping the advertisers sweet or making a profit. He was worth a lot of money after his time in the city.
I can't find the diary.
Well, if it's not here, I've no idea where it would be. No sign of the envelope either. Do you think someone took it?
It's possible. Do you have any idea who you might have been seeing yesterday evening?
He didn't mention anyone.
I spotted him as being a bit odd, straight away, didn't I? Yes, excuse me. I said he was weird.
Did you?
You know I did.
Right. I need to establish where you both were between 6 and 8 p.m. yesterday evening.
I think Eleanor was here at the bar. I think you were here for all that time, weren't you?
Yes.
Drinking. Up until after 10, I think it was.
And you were here behind the bar?
I was here from shortly before 6 till 11:15.
Well, apart from the time you said you went down to the cellar, which was what, about 10 minutes?
And when would that have been?
I don't know. 7:30 to 8? More like 5 minutes.
Who else was here at the time?
It was just the two of us. Yes. Actually, now I come to think of it, 10 minutes is more than enough time for you to get down to Midsumer Life offices and back. I mean, I'm just saying. And I suppose, come to think of it, you'd probably have as good a motive as anyone after that shocking review that Guy gave you about your old restaurant. Absolute stinker. I mean, isn't that right?
If there was no one else here, then there's no one who can corroborate you being here for those 10 minutes either. You could have nipped up the road and back again yourself. And with a forthcoming review of the hotel, you'd have a motive too. Being the founding employee, what with its references to drunken staff. Yeah, and I wonder who that was referring to.
Who do you think it was he was meeting?
Oh, we only Matt Moorcroft's word for it. He was meeting someone. Could have been lying. There might not have been anyone at all.
Have you seen the badges?
Pardon?
She is so talented, that girl. You do like her work, don't you?
Oh, I do, yes. It's excellent. What?
Nothing. What about Martin Reed?
What about Martin Reed?
Well, it wasn't just the restaurant that he lost as a result of Guy's review. Everyone knows that his wife left him when it went bust. He has motive.
Possibly, yeah.
I know a girl who worked at that restaurant. I could ask her about it.
Joyce. Joyce, we've just discovered there was a convicted murderer staying at Moorcroft's Hotel, possibly a contract killer. Now, I don't want you getting involved.
Oh, Tom. I love it when you come over all protective. Say it again.
Oh, come here.
Oh, I talked to Julia's previous editor on the Red Top she worked for. Seems her leaving London was more voluntary redundancy than any burning desire to live in the country.
And she is the love interest.
Good actress or genuinely grieving?
Hello. Forgive the attire, it's a late start. Oh, would you like to come in?
Thank you.
After you.
Have a sit down.
Please. So, is the mysterious Mr. Tomlin your chief suspect?
Well, he's one of them.
Professional hitman does seem a bit extreme, but I suppose they do exist.
Using his real name doesn't seem like the most professional of tactics.
But we're not ruling him out.
Have you spoken to Julia Benson? Are you aware she was copulating with Guy on a regular basis?
Well, thank you very much for sharing that information. And good morning to you, Mrs. Finlayson.
She's desperate to get her hands on his money. Can't wait to get him up the aisle. If I were you, I would have her on the top of your list.
Excuse me, but how would killing Guy before they were married, how would that help?
Well, I just wouldn't trust her an inch.
When did you last see Guy?
I suppose it was about
4:30 on the afternoon of the day he died, since you ask. Yes, I'd gone over there to ask him if he knew what Charlie had been doing there, but he denied knowing anything about it. So I came home, and that was it.
Ah, the intrepid off-roaders. Tell you what, if you want your vehicles cleaned before you go, I got a little brother who'll do it for £1.
No, you're all right, thanks, mate.
Yeah, of course. I was forgetting. You lot like to keep the mud on for when you visit your supermarkets in Wimbledon. Hey, tell you what, I got some stickers. Genuine mud from the country. Put one on the back there if you like.
You what?
Oh, leave it, Brad. I think with all the income we bring to the area, they'd be grateful.
So how do you feel about Guy's review of your restaurant?
He did me a favour, to be honest. I'm just not restaurant material. No, if Guy hadn't spelt it out, I'd have probably struggled on for years before I came to terms with it.
Oh, come on, there's a little more to it than that, isn't there? I mean, the bank foreclosed on you very quickly after that review came out. And you couldn't have staggered on for a week, could you? And then you begged your sister to keep quiet about the situation. It obviously hurt you. And then on top of all that, your wife ups and leaves you.
Who told you that?
Oh, come on, Martin. It's common knowledge.
Well, we'd grown apart by then, anyway. Where's that coffee?
We particularly like the illustration of the young badgers. Oh, I don't know if you'd have anything similar. It's for my husband's birthday. Oh, that's the very one.
I could frame it for you by tomorrow morning if you're interested.
Brilliant. Oh, job done.
Actually, best to make it tomorrow afternoon. We're a bit pushed at work at the moment. What with recent events.
I was so sorry to hear about Guy. And we'll all miss his reviews.
Perhaps not everyone.
Oh, really?
Fair bit of suppressed anger there.
Yes. Doesn't make him the murderer.
And the sister's a bit pent up as well.
Yes, isn't she just?
Is there any chance she could have thought Guy was responsible for her husband Charlie's death?
What, killed him in revenge?
No alibi.
That's right.
Do you know where I could get some charcoal?
You'd be lucky to find any now. It's the end of the season, see, after this hot weekend we just had. And that's fine.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Thanks anyway.
Okay, bye.
Oh, nice choice. Joyce!
I just ran into Gemma Platt, our artist. She says that Matt Moorcroft tried to bribe Julia Benson not to run Guy's review. She's the editor.
Yes, I know she's the editor. Didn't I ask you?
Do stop fussing, Tom.
I'm not fussing, Joyce.
Well, I can't help hearing things if people insist on telling me. Well, I thought you'd be pleased.
I am pleased.
I'll see you later. Hello, Ben.
Morning, Mrs. Barnaby.
Mrs. Barnaby has just told me that Moorcroft tried to bribe Julia to pull that hotel review.
How did she find that out?
Oh, she has her sources.
They obviously don't think that Tomlin's the murderer, despite what some local experts think.
They're considering all possibilities. Doesn't mean he's not their chief suspect. Why else would he do a runner?
Well, they seem to think that a professional hitman might not use his real name. He might just have a point.
Oh, potholes. Get them fixed.
Of course, it is only the opinion of policemen with many years' experience catching criminals.
Well, if they are looking for someone else, I might just be able to point them in the right direction.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
If you keep your eyes open, you can see things. Oh, yes.
Gin and tonic, please.
I don't think Matt Moorcroft would murder someone for a bad hotel review.
And even if he did, why would he then draw attention to himself by trying to bribe them not to run it? Wonder where she's off to.
Thank you. Look, I'm sorry about what I said yesterday. It's not your fault.
Well, I'm sorry for what
Stop apologizing. I said it's not your fault. That's it. I shouldn't have said what I said.
Oh. Thank you.
I still think you shouldn't be working here. I mean, especially for that jumped-up little... you're better than this, Martin. You could have any job if you just gave it time.
Oh.
I'm sorry, did you just say something?
Eleanor here thinks she knows who the murderer is.
Really? Sorry, what's that on your lip?
No, that's not what I said. And actually, the police will be particularly interested in what I have to tell them. It's hard evidence about what I saw in the car park. I mean, who I saw in the car park. And it's no good making faces.
Some of the locals have a strange sense of humour, but don't take offence. And don't worry about the barbed wire damage, we'll sort that out. Martin, my man, I want you to give these guests drinks on the house, whatever they want. Don't you worry, we'll sort it out.
Miss Benson? Miss Benson? I've just heard that Matt Moorcroft was trying to, how should I put this, persuade you to pull Guy's review.
He's going to be disappointed. It would be a travesty to suppress any review in Guy's memorial issue.
Well, to tell him, are you?
No, I'm meeting Garth to ask him to write a piece about Guy.
If you just excuse me.
I assure you I'm totally serious.
And what exactly did you see?
Well, I think I'll save that for the police, if you don't mind.
You're quite the detective, aren't you?
Eleanor, have you finished the towels in the laundry?
Oh.
Perhaps you should finish that before you have another glass. I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry, she lives on another planet, your receptionist.
It has done for years.
Mr. Moorcroft.
Mr. Barnaby.
It's still all right to use the side rooms for the interviews.
Be my guest.
Thank you. Garth, have a word, please.
Sir.
A minute.
They found Tomlin's car in London. It's a hire car, parked near Waterloo Station. They're suggesting he might have caught the Eurostar and left the country.
Garth.
Guy came up to the off-road centre. I told him Matt wasn't there, and he gave me the message. Tore up the contract in front of everyone.
Everyone?
Yeah. The clients, the city boys. That Brad bloke was trying to cause trouble. I think he worked at Guy's firm. They knew each other.
What sort of trouble?
Stupid stuff about old-school ties. He was being an idiot. You know, chippy.
base jump on.
Excuse me.
Is there a problem?
I'm Detective Chief Inspector Barnaby from Corson CID. This is Detective Sergeant Jones. We understand that you knew Mr. Guy Sands. Is that right?
A bit. Not that well.
Enough to have a row with him at the off-road centre.
Well, don't you go anywhere, as I need to have a little chat with you after we've had a word with Mr. Moorcroft here, please.
Guy Sands was campaigning to have the off-road centre closed down, wasn't he?
Was he?
Did you argue about that too?
I told you. He was seeing someone else.
But there's no one who can corroborate that.
I told Eleanor when I came back.
Eleanor Crouch.
She should remember. Well, she better bloody well remember, because I definitely told her he was with someone else. Right when I came...
Excuse me. I was just wondering if you knew how much longer it was going to be, because I do have to be somewhere.
We'll be with you, sir, as soon as we can. Thank you.
For God's sake, she's back in the bar.
If I could have your attention, please. Thank you. Now, we need to establish where everyone was between the time Eleanor Crouch left the bar and the time that we found her. And that means we need to take statements. Statements from each and every one of you.
Yeah, well, you are going to see us first. We are busy people.
And our time isn't worth anything.
No, that's right.
Can I point out that Eleanor Crouch has been murdered, and I'm sure that you're all very anxious that we should find the person or persons responsible. Can I just ask you, please, to be patient?
Martin Reed. Eleanor told him how she'd seen someone in the car park the evening Guy Sands was killed. She didn't say who it was, but she was telling him how the police would be very interested.
Facts came through for you at the station, sir.
So the suggestion is that Eleanor Crouch was killed to stop her telling us who she saw in the car park.
How much longer? Why don't you shut up?
Sit down, please, sir. Try and be patient.
It's from the investigating officer on the Tomlin case. He says he'd be surprised if Tomlin were a professional killer. The murder he was convicted of was a sexually motivated crime. He was previously a highly respected member of the community. Tomlin was a teacher. And he doesn't fit the profile of any professional criminal.
Well, people change inside, especially after 14 years.
Yeah. Maybe Tomlin had his own, personal motive for killing Guy Sands.
Did he kill Eleanor too?
So why would he do that? Oh, whether or no he's the killer, Mr. Tomlin is certainly in the picture.
And I bet it was your bleeding saboteur and all.
Could you keep it down, please?
Look, just pour the beers, Jeeves. Look, he's been working for the bloke wanting to close you down. Of course it was him. He sabotaged the course to give you more grief.
Well, he wouldn't do that, would you?
Of course he would.
You think I'd take your money and then betray your trust? You think that's the sort of person I am?
He's just a yokel killjoy who can't stand people having more money and more fun than him.
If you were stupid enough to run your course through a tip and then divert a stream through it, you shouldn't be surprised if old bits of rubbish start turning up.
Well, thank you for that. You're fired.
Yeah. Well, Guy always warned me what a prat you are.
Would you throw this man out, please? He's barred for life.
I think you can do that yourself. And you can stick your miserable job along with your rude, patronising attitude. I'm out of here.
Congratulations, Martin. Well done.
Well, hang on, who's going to serve us?
I don't think the subject of who's going to serve the Metro Tossers is on the top of anybody's worry list right now.
Who are you calling Metro Tosser?
Hang on, Manny, take it easy.
Well, if the cap fits, darling, wear it.
Well, if you will get involved in pub brawls. Keep still.
I would have left it to uniform, of course, but Jones was particularly keen to protect a very pretty young WPC. Not that she needed much protection. She almost wrenched the arm off one of the Londoners. She was arresting him. God, he's going to have his hands full if he ever gets involved with her.
Well, maybe he wants his hands full. There. All better.
Thank you. Oh. Cells are full of rioting locals, off-roaders. Still no nearer solving the murder.
Not one of your Betty Davies.
No. Oh, thank you. You got any suggestions?
Me?
Yes, you. Jones always say that you do all my detective work for me.
Oh, no. I just help out with a little local knowledge when I can.
I was only joking.
Were you? Oh.
I was very interested to get your call, and surprised. I thought we'd actually got somewhere with Freddie Tomlin. It took him a long time coming to terms with what he'd done. You know, admitting it. But we were actually quite confident about giving him parole.
Did he, Governor, did he have much connection with the outside world? Visitors?
The family virtually wrote him off after the trial. You know, complete cut-off. No, as far as I know, he didn't receive a single visitor. Oh. Except a couple of months before his release, yeah. A Mrs. Jane Wilson.
Wilson.
Can I help you?
Mrs. Wilson. This is Jane Wilson.
Yes.
I'm Detective Chief Inspector Barnaby from Corston CID. Can you spare me a few minutes?
I've been expecting you. Come in. Perfect. I hope your husband likes it.
Oh, I know he will. No, my only problem now is to find some charcoal for the barbecue.
Well, you know my brother makes the stuff.
Really? He wouldn't have some to spare.
Only about a couple of tons.
The personnel department, please. No, look. This is 14, 15 years ago. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid he doesn't appear to be answering. But he's booked in to stay another couple of nights. Paid in advance.
Is his car gone?
Well, it's not outside where it usually is, I notice. And no, it's not in the car park either.
I went to see Guy Sands at his office. Look, I just went there to sort out this review thing. Actually, he was more angry than I was when I got there, if you really want to know. He had a brown envelope in his hand and he was cursing.
I don't know if that had anything to do with what happened, but...
Mr. Barnaby.
Miss Benson, may we talk?
Of course, come in.
Thank you. I wonder if you'd take a look at these.
Trust. You said I could trust you.
I remember the story, but it's been a long time.
Mr. Tomlin, who was staying at the Moorcroft Hotel and who was seen watching these offices and who subsequently went missing, is the man who was convicted of the murder in this case.
Really?
Really. And Mrs. Wilson here, she is the sister of the chief witness at the trial. That same chief witness to whom the newspaper for which you were working at the time paid a large, very large amount of money for her story. Mrs. Wilson, would you tell us what happened when you went to visit your sister in hospital for the last time?
Can I ask what...
Please, Julia, bear with us. Won't take long, I promise. Mrs. Wilson.
She was very sick. She had terminal cancer. And she was desperate to tell me something. It was about the big murder case, the trial of Frederick Tomlin.
She told me she wanted to withdraw her evidence. How, shortly before the case opened, she'd become much less confident that she could definitely identify Tomlin as being the man at the murder scene.
Thank you for coming.
She said the people at the newspaper told her that she couldn't withdraw her evidence. And if she did, then she wouldn't be a witness. And they'd have to take back the money they'd paid her for the story. But she'd already spent it. My sister made me promise to go and see the man who'd been convicted, Frederick Tomlin, and tell him what had happened and ask him to forgive her. Amazingly, he said she had his forgiveness. Unfortunately, my sister died before I had a chance to pass the message on.
And her evidence died with her. 14 years on, Tomlin is due for parole. But Mrs. Wilson's story being hearsay evidence wouldn't have been admissible anyway. Not in a criminal court of appeal, that is. But it might have been admissible in a civil court. And Mrs. Wilson here did agree to give evidence if Tomlin decided to bring a civil action against the journalist involved. And that journalist was you. Stevens?
Sir.
Mrs. Wilson, if you'd accompany this officer back down to the police station, and we'll be with you shortly. And thank you.
This way.
There were a lot of us working on the case at the time. I don't know who she spoke to, but it certainly wasn't me.
We believe that Tomlin came here to expose you, to ruin your life as you had certainly ruined his, because he was innocent, wasn't he?
They all say they're innocent.
Oh, right. You didn't care whether he was innocent or not, did you? As long as you got your story. We think that Tomlin delivered that envelope by hand. It contained a dossier for Guy's attention, articles that you'd been responsible for, along with a copy of the signed affidavit from Mrs. Wilson detailing her sister's deathbed confession. We know that Guy didn't open his mail immediately. But by the time he finally did, Tomlin had already confronted you about it, and you had killed him.
No. Not me.
Yes, you, Julia. The guy must have read the dossier. Did he guess that you'd killed Tomlin? And what did he do? Did he threaten you? Threaten to go to the police? Or, well, whatever it was, you decided that he had to die as well.
I really don't see how you can fabricate this without any evidence. It seems very unprofessional.
You wanted people to believe that Tomlin had killed Guy and done a runner. So he had to make it look as if Tomlin had left the hotel of his own accord. So he went to his room, packed his bags, but you couldn't risk being seen wandering around the hotel with his baggage, could you? So you dropped it out of the window. Picked it up later on, put those bags in Tomlin's car. We believe that you dumped those bags on the way up to London, where you left the car outside Waterloo Station to make us believe that he had indeed done a runner to the continent. It would have worked out absolutely fine if Eleanor Crouch had not seen you in the car park. And Eleanor miraculously remembered seeing you the next day, and she thought, oh, that's probably a very important piece of evidence that she should tell us about. So you decided to kill her too, before she could tell us what she'd seen.
No, wrong again.
We spoke to your previous editor, who said he had to let you go because you'd do anything to get the story. Always have done, apparently.
So it wasn't love of the country that brought you out here, was it? Just didn't have anywhere else to go.
And that's it, is it? A few squashed flowers in a car park. Any proper evidence at all? Perhaps you'd explain how I was supposed to know Eleanor planned to tell you she'd allegedly seen me in the car park when I wasn't even at the bar when she was boring people with it. I was with you and Sergeant Jones. I had no idea what she'd planned.
Where is Frederick Tomlin's body?
You'll never find a body. Because there is no body to find. He's alive and well and congratulating himself on giving those sluggish country coppers the slip.
I know that you are the murderer.
Arrest me then!
Three big motives and not a shred of evidence.
Doesn't look like she's going to be bluffed into a confession either.
No. And what was all that stuff about not hearing what Eleanor had to say in the bar? I mean, my thinking was she knew she'd been seen in the car park by Eleanor because she was there. Simple as that. Actually, there was an air of desperation about it all. I mean, why kill her at the hotel? Why at that time with so many people about? It was very risky, isn't it? Maybe she had only just heard what Eleanor intended to do.
Could someone have mentioned it to her?
No, I'm meeting Garth to ask him to write a piece about Guy.
Garth and Julia. Garth and Julia. What if they were having an affair, eh? Julia would have kept quiet about that, wouldn't want to harm her relationship with Guy. It was Garth who told her what Eleanor said in the bar.
Garth's working over at Drover's Copse. I thought you'd spoken to him already.
It's just a few points, we need to clear up.
Drover's Copse, where's that?
It's the turning just after the Malham Road. You go past Bottom's farm and take a left after a couple of 100 yards.
Got that?
Yes, sir.
Would I be right in thinking that Garth has got a girlfriend?
He won't tell me, but there is someone. There was lipstick on his ear the other day. He got all shy when I pointed it out.
Thank you.
Hello? Anyone there?
The turning's just up here, I think.
You think?
Eco-friendly.
Bag. You shouldn't have done that, Mrs. Barnaby.
Right or left here?
That's right, I think. Oh, no, as you were. To the left. Sorry.
That's Joyce's car.
Is he?
Yeah.
Joyce, what did I say to you?
Just came up here for some charcoal. Honestly.
Do you realize who this man is? We suspect he is an accomplice to the murders.
Well, not exactly an accomplice. Apparently, Julia said she killed Mr. Tomlin in self-defense. And Garth only helped with the disposal of the body.
And Charlie Finlayson was a heart attack. We saw him watching. Guy was away. Julia suggested that we use the pool. Julia panicked. She mistakenly thought the intruder was Tomlin.
Get him.
The murderer. She'd already told me that he was getting out of prison, that he'd sworn revenge on her for putting him inside. I had no idea it was someone else. I chased him. I didn't know he was going to die. It was locked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't kill him.
You stole his wallet?
No. No, I just thought I'd better check his ID. That's all it was, I swear. And then, when Tomlin did turn up, he was suddenly dead as well. Julia said it was self-defense, but that you lot wouldn't believe her and we'd have to get rid of the body. I didn't kill anyone. I don't know how it all happened. It's a nightmare.
He says when Guy was killed, Julia denied any involvement. And the same with Eleanor's death. He suspected that she was behind both of them, but by then he was in too deep to say anything.
Yeah, I wanted to believe her, you know? But I knew.
Is that it?
Mr. Tomlin's skull and the rest of his charred remains are in that bag over there. Really, I only came for the charcoal. It was a coincidence.
God knows what might have happened. I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about, does it, George? I mean, all right, maybe he wasn't the murderer, but given the emotional state he was in, he could have done anything.
And he's no slouch with an axe, from what I've heard.
Oh, thank you, George.
Yeah, I was wondering about the body disposal, because the temperature in those charcoal retorts doesn't get high enough to reduce a body totally to ash.
Oh, well, hence the sledgehammer to smash up the bones and the teeth. He was going to scatter the remains all over the woodlands up there.
And he confessed all to Joyce.
Yes.
Handy having a wife to do all your hard work for you. It's the talk of the station, Tom. And talking of burning things to a crisp, I think your Cumberlands need turning.